Welcome to Devoted to a Soldier, Join Our Table movement, professional live resource panel. And with me today, I've got three great men, and we're going to talk about the power of a veteran's voice. What the heck is that? How do you use it? How do you get it out from in you out to the world, the ins, the outs? I mean, we've got so much going on, but we're going to go around the board here, and I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves because you do it so much better than I do. First, we'll start with Adam because he's right there in my line of vision. Adam with Heroes Media.
I'm Adam Bird, 9-year Army veteran and the CEO and founder of Heroes Media Group.
Short and sweet. I love it. And Mr. Travis, Oscar Mike Radio.
I'm Travis Partington, Marine Corps veteran. I've been doing this podcast since 2016.
Love it. And next on my list, last but never least, Mr. Dean from the Military Medium. Tell us a little bit.
Hey, Danny. Thanks for having me on. Dean McMurray, the Military Medium. Have a podcast called the Red, White, and You Show coming up on, actually, I'm the new guy in the block, almost a year coming up on the anniversary on Memorial Day. Started originally in radio with no background in radio, by the way, and then moved to the podcast front. So I'm excited to be here. Thanks.
Oh, I'm so glad you guys are spending the day with us. It looks like we have Michelle watching. So people that are out there that are watching, tell us where you're from. If you have questions while we're live, post them. Instagram, I'm going to try to keep up with you, and on Facebook. So keep it coming. I'm sure these guys will answer, but I want to get right to it. Why your voice? There's so many people that I've met that is the last thing that they want to do is talk, deal, verbally expose themselves in such a vulnerable way. Especially, that's just in general of people, but especially I find with veterans, because you are trained and held to keep it in, keep control, do what you need to do. Why your voice? How did that even come up? You can just take it away. Whoever wants to answer that first, and we'll converse.
I'll go first.
Go ahead, Travis.
Sure. For me, 4 years ago, I was in a very bad place in my life, and I had to figure out some way to kind of get my mojo back, for lack of a better term. And one thing a couple friends and family said is, you got this voice, they're not using it. And I'm like, no one's going to listen to me talk. And I found out by trying to talk about veterans issues, military stories, and my own personal experience, I found there were people that wanted to connect with that, and people that did have their own stories to tell, and people that were trying to figure out their own way. So for me, it was cathartic, and then it became a way to actually really proactively, serve my brothers and sisters.
I'm sure a lot of you have that kind of same similarity. Was it that you found your voice? Maybe Admiral Jim can answer this, with your friends and loved ones first, or people close to you before you actually took the step out into the massive world.
Well, for me, I started off in radio back in 2009 timeframe, and when I transferred over into the podcast side of things around 2010, 2011, it was more of finding a purpose for me, and the purpose is to try to create a platform, or to give veterans, or now heroes, a place where they can feel safe, come and express their feelings, share their thoughts and ideas, and not feel like nobody's listening.
That sounds great, but that sounds uber scary too at the same time. Dean, since you're the newbie, it's scary. Adam, that's great, but I'm scary.
I think one of the, if you look up, a lot of people, look up fears, right? And I think one of the fears a lot of people have up there with heights and other things is public speaking. And regardless of whether that's online or in a room full of people. And for me, doing, and of course, those that don't know me, I'm actually a psychic medium. I have been doing that professionally since I've actually right before I retired from the military. And that's a whole other story, by the way. But what I want to share is,
guys, he's probably reading you. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I don't do that prior. But the thing that I would share is that doing that in a certain capacity got me out of my own comfort zone by speaking in front of people. So when I was approached to have my own radio show, I was in the same, or, kind of the same thing that Travis was saying is, nobody's going to want to listen to me. Why the hell do you want to, why me? Like, I don't have nothing. And then I was like, started asking myself, like, what would I use the platform for? What's my intent? Right. And I started looking at it and I was like, you know what, to give back to the veteran community, something that is near and dear to me. And I guess if you want to look at it from an aspect, I was like, well, maybe that sounds kind of egocentric, but I was like, you know what, because it makes me feel good, and veterans and their families will always be close to me till the day I die. And I was like, you know what, if I can give back to my brothers and sisters that I spent the first half of my adult life serving in a capacity as, that's what I wanted to do. And so I created the show idea of, kind of like Adam talked about, is, hey, I don't know nothing about radio, but I guess I'll figure it out. Kind of like the military mentality, right?
Yeah.
Hey, here's the vehicle. Let's jump in. Let's go do fun shit. And here's what I want to talk about. And I just, and I think with Travis too, talking about, I love it because you were talking about how you kind of were in a place. And, for me too, giving back makes me feel good, to be really honest. And it helps me as well. And it feels good to help other people. So knowing that one person can be changed by a positive message that I help get out, hey, that helps me.
That purpose outside. So we all have our mission statement. We know what our mission is when we're in the military, and then like it's the common denominator is finding that purpose. But how do you get out of your own fear, number one? And then what do you do? Like, I've even asked Adam before, like, okay, so Adam, this is what I'm mulling around with this, but this is what I suck at and I need help, right?
So for me, it's very basic. It goes back to the Marine Corps in the 5-paragraph order. You've got the mission. I need to organize my podcast better. I want to talk about the T-34 Russian tank. The mission is to get that message out to somebody. And the execution is I'm going to sit there and get my OneNote out and outline it. And then the administration logistics is working out and making sure it's all like set. And then the command signals is, hey, I'm doing this. I'm right here, guys. Let's get it out there. And back to something that Dean said that I really find powerful is everything that I do, and I talked about this before with you, Danielle, is based on the number one. I don't care about 1 million subscribers. I don't care about 100,000 downloads or 2 million followers. I just want to know at the end of this, whenever this ends, that I've made change to one person's life. And if I can impact one person's life in a positive manner, then all the rest of it's been worth it. Yeah. Because a lot of people go through life and never do that, never want to do that. That's hard. So that's kind of the end goal. So it's about breaking down the big objective into small chunks, organization, and then the number one.
Right. So Adam, how do you, on the logistics side of it, what does that look like? I mean, you took it to the whole other level of you're like, well, I'm going to make my own company about this and help others do it,
The biggest thing I tell people that are just starting off is, they're like, well, I'm thinking about doing this. I'm thinking about doing a podcast, and I'm thinking about starting this. And I want to, that's great that you're thinking about it. Do it. You don't have to know everything right off the bat. And podcasting now has changed so much in the last 10 years. Like it's so easy to start a podcast now. And a lot of people, I think, suffer from imposter syndrome. And I'm guilty of it myself, is where, why would anybody, the guys brought it up earlier, why would anybody listen to me?
Mm-hmm.
there are people out there that need to hear what you have to say. There are people out there that will listen, people that you've never met before. And it's amazing emails that I've gotten and stuff like that. And you're just like Travis said, it's that one, and you realize that you make a difference in that one person's life, then everything that you have done was totally worth it. And when I tell people that are just starting off, just start. You don't have to have it all perfect, because there's no such thing as it's not. If you're waiting for the perfect time, it's bullshit. It's never going to happen. Get started now, and then it's like a sculpture. You're kind of smoothing out the edges as you go.
Yeah, well, if you've been watching my weekly or daily thing, you've seen me smoothing out the edges live with everybody. And I have to say, and how do you guys handle this from I see you as a professional, but like a heightened professional, because you have so much basic training that like I will never have. Like what my son went through, I will always be his mother and I will always kick his ass, but I will never have the experience and the education that he has and that strength inside him. So when people give you they give you maybe a hard time, or they criticize you, or I always love the people that always tell me what I'm doing wrong, never what I'm doing right. How do you handle that and not let it kind of get you down, get you like, well, okay, I had this insecurity that no one wanted to hear my voice anyways. And now I have these, jamokes telling me everything that is wrong with what I'm doing.
I'd like to address that one, if I may, because obviously, in addition to the podcast, work in an industry that a lot of people have a lot of varied beliefs around, right? The mediumship piece. And, we're all human at the end of the day. I don't care whether you're a soldier, an airman. I don't care what branch. I don't care if you've never served. We're all human, right? And so every one of us, regardless of life experience, deals with either rejection or criticism in their unique way. Now, granted, the military, depending on how you choose to show up, some of us are a little bit more hardened shell and be like, I don't care what you think, and kind of the old gunny mentality or whatever, or the old crusty mentality. But at the same time, deep down, it might go, the insecurity part of us, our ego, right? Might go, there might be a crack in that shell for some, and go, well, what happens if I am making this shit up? Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. What about that insecure part of us that nobody ever gets to see, but inside we're having a battle between our heart and our head and going, you know what? God, I did spend too much for that mic, and maybe my wife is crazy, but I'm just saying sometimes that's a real big conversation that somebody might be having in their head. And so those insecurities, but the thing that I would share is, number one, for me, this is me personally. Number one is when I get a kickback, I'll call it, or negative, comments or whatever, is number one, I kind of smile and go, I must be touching a nerve somewhere. I need to push even farther because I'm doing the right thing. I'm making people uncomfortable. Number one, that tells me they're listening. So that's great. Number two is, if they're feeling uncomfortable, they're seeing insecurities or things that they don't like about themselves in what I'm doing. It has nothing to do about me. It's all about them, right? When we get down to it at the end of the day, or the mirror effect. Absolutely. So when we do that, I know that I'm on the right track. So I'm like, hey, I'm pissing off the right number of people. I'm not saying you make everybody mad and I gripe about everything, but, and I try to leave people better than I found them. But at the same time, when I get that negative feedback saying, thanks for the feedback, that tells me I need to keep on going and even harder now. That's my motivation. You just added fuel to the fire, number one. Number two, having the cheerleaders around you when you get in the suck, right? The military term, the suck, because we all have our insecurities. And if I'm maybe personally in that going, oh my God, what I'm in, I've had 3 episodes and oh my God, there's nothing. And whatever and thinking about giving up. And if you have those cheerleaders around you, maybe the wife, maybe the kids, maybe that good friend, whatever, and saying, you know what, you need to keep on going. You're making a difference in this world.
Right.
And saying, you know what, one more step. Remember, maybe you guys, Adam, Travis, you know, back in the military days, you know, like if you're doing road marches, ruck marches, right? And you're doing a 20 miler or whatever. And it's like, you get past mile 12 and everything just starts hurting. And it's like, oh my God, I don't know if I can go another step. And it's like one more mile. And it's like one more mile, right?
You have those people that
yeah.
you. What is Adam and Travis? What is your like 1 and 2 thing that like he, you know, Dean gave his 1 or 2 thing to help. What is yours? What like
as far as like go ahead, Travis.
Oh no, after you, sir. After you.
No, as far as like getting negative feedback,
how do you handle it?
It's I smile and I kind of chuckle. Because it's like Dean said, you're gonna have haters out there, and the sooner you get haters, it just goes to show that you made it. If anything, you almost look for those, because it's kind of like, all right, cool, now I'm getting somewhere.
Right.
You because if you have everybody's like, oh, it's perfect, keep going, but is it?
Right. It's that balance. It's that universal balance, right? You have to have the
all you can do. Listen, if everybody is like assholes, everybody's got one, right? Everybody's got an opinion. It's the same thing. What do you have you can read a negative comment and you can allow that to affect you negatively, or you can take that, twist it, and turn that into a positive. The choice is yours. That's the beauty of it.
How about you, Travis? Wow.
So this is something that actually happened to me. Somebody in my life loved referring to Oscar Mike Radio as Oscar Mayer Radio, and they thought that was a really cute thing to say, and it was not done in jest. It was done as a derogatory statement. And to your point, Dean and Adam, I realized that's their problem, and I can either allow it to impact what I'm doing or not. And I made a choice to say, you know what, that's their failing. That's their insecurity. That's their, lack of empathy and hatred or whatever they got going on with me. If that's all they can do to attack me, that's their issue. So how do I get around that? Is there are every now and then I have a scrapbook of emails and letters and thank you notes I've gotten from prior guests. And one of them from a father who's, I served with his son in the Marine Corps, and his son passed away. And I talked about my experience serving with John, and his dad sent me an email saying, you shed light on John's career in a way that I never got from anybody else. Thank you. So I can either focus on someone calling me Oscar Mayer Radio, or I can focus on that father who took the time to write me that note. And that goes back to your point, Danielle, when you can make that kind of impact in someone's life, all three of us are doing something fantastic.
Yeah.
Right here, brother. See, sitting right in front of me. Thank you cards.
There you go.
That's great point, Travis. That's beautiful.
It's the choice and surrounding. So it's not necessarily the people that you surround yourself with physically. It's the people you surround yourself long term, who you've passed through your life, bringing that reality back. So God, time goes by so fast. Like I have a list here that I haven't even gotten to.
Well, we'll come back on.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to. Definitely.
The hell with the list.
We'll come back on. Nothing wrong with that.
But I want to leave people with, at least for this part, when we'll do another part 2, we had to do a part 2 with the VFW organization stuff too, is leave people with advice. 2 things, actually. 1, how you suggest them starting, like physical, actual thing, not just a thought process, but like you need to do X to actually start, like whether it's a name, it's a platform, whatever your tip is, right? Of how to start. And one thing to do when you feel like you're going to give up, because we've all had those moments. And then I didn't prep you with those two things. So
Well, sure. I'll take a crack at this, guy. If you
let
want me
Travis
to.
go because he knows.
So I told somebody, and I did it for myself, is I simply got my computer, USB microphone, Audacity, and I started talking, and it was bad. It was really, really bad. But then I'm like, okay, it's bad. How do I make it better?
Yeah.
So it's so simple. It's just a start. Start with something you know. Start with something you like or really passionate about, because people will respond to the authenticity behind that passion and that enthusiasm more than something you're trying to poser about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a computer, your cell phone, a microphone, and then listen to yourself. YouTube to figure out how to edit and stuff like that, and then rinse and repeat. Simple as that.
Good stuff. Who's up? Who else?
Good, Dean.
Oh, I was going to say, go ahead. Well, I was going to say, I came to mind while Travis was talking, was an old mentor of mine. What had nothing to do with podcasting or radio, but he said he used to say every master was once a disaster. And it happens so many times. Everybody has the iceberg effect. Everybody sees the beautiful, polished podcasts and shows, and it flows so well, and the beautiful everything, but they don't see all the work and everything and the years that it took from going from, like Travis said, terrible to, hey, that's pretty good. It's getting a little bit better. And by the time, whatever. So the biggest thing is just do. Like you think of Yoda, right? Do or do not, just do the damn thing. It's like start talking and get it out there and just, continually refine. So, and think about that. Every master was once a disaster. You got to start somewhere. So just go from there. And, the other thing is I'm not an expert by any means in any of this, even though I did a little time in radio. But again, we all have these damn phones. Most of us have laptops. I mean, there's so many programs and apps out there. Even if you don't have a USB mic or, a Rode equipment, whatever, is most of us have headphones and a phone. What the heck? Start somewhere. There should be no excuse. But most of us get in the analysis paralysis mode. Be like, well, I'm going to wait. I'll do it when I have enough money to buy whether it's a whatever version of the latest software or equipment, saying just do it. It's okay. Wow. Just start. And so, that would be my 2 cents on that.
Perfect.
Yeah. Kind of the same message there. I'd probably say, to get a pen and a pad and bullet point topics that you want to talk about. And then take your phone and your headset, if you don't have a USB mic or anything like that, and just start talking. Start talking about the topics that you've written down, and then just kind of go from there. And stick with it. Like there's going to be times where the average podcaster goes like 7 episodes and then they quit because they realize, wow, well, this is a lot. It takes a lot. Well, there's companies like Heroes Media Group out there and whatnot that can help. You do that. Stick with it, because there's somebody out there that needs to hear what you have to say, but they can't hear anything unless you start.
I love that. And then listen, like, those Facebook memories that come up, that pop up. So I've been talking for years on Facebook, and sometimes they'll come up like 4 or 5 years ago, and I'll be like, oh God, do I want to hear what I said? Like Travis, when you said it was terrible, it was a train wreck. Please do not go back and look at those.
I know what I'm doing after this.
Yeah, right. But it's the truth. You get better over time, and and here's I'm going to give you my tip of this. I had this microphone I don't know, for like 8 months. I did not know how the hell to use it at all. I was there for pictures only because every time I tried to use it, it never worked. And so you have great friends like Travis, but he's my guy. When something goes wrong, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I need this. And I'll send pictures, like find to people, right? Of these little things when you do want to evolve and try new things. There's somebody out there that knows a tip better than you do. So that's my unprofessional 2 cents about it. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay. And it is good to re-listen to yourself. So I'm going to have you guys all back here. We're going to pick a date because I want to go deeper into some more questions. But this was great value. Anybody who's out there who's wanting to start, first of all, you have the 3 guys that you can pick their brain. I just offered that. Adam's the professional. He can hook you up with the real deal. He's amazing to work with. He has all that professional technology, and he can get you on the right path when you want to go there. Even when I've asked him, so how do you get, because here's the thing that I want to talk about on the next time, sponsors, right? Mm-hmm. Travis, we've talked about this. I've talked to Adam about this, is, there are people out there that actually would put money into you to get your voice out there. That's like step 2 of this whole process that I think we need to hit on, because that's scary in itself right there. I don't know about you, but that's a scary thought to me.
Well, it was scary when someone wanted to attach their name to my show. It was humbling, and I realized I had to keep my game up because it was their name attached to what I was doing. It was a different feel altogether.
Yeah. And I have one person wants to know, if you had the choice, they had a question. If you have the choice, I better just read it instead of trying to paraphrase it. I always wonder, if you have the chance to choose another path, do you choose it again? Does that make sense?
That's like a fork in the road kind of thing.
Yeah, right? Yes or no?
No. I think doing what I've been doing, this is my purpose. I feel like this is what I've been meant to do. Next to raising my son, this is where I'm supposed to be, and it's a pretty cool feeling.
That is.
I just think I would have started sooner. I would have been on the same as Adam. I wouldn't change a thing, but I would have started sooner.
Yeah. And I'd echo the same thing, is that I wouldn't change anything either. So it's been rewarding. It's been humbling. So, but I wouldn't do anything different. So.
Well, I love you guys. Thank you for spending some time with me, sharing your knowledge with the world. And until next time, I hope everybody joins our table.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Danielle.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
Bye.